The drill bit screamed against something that should not exist 300 feet below, the Sahara Desert. Dr. Emma Hayes wiped sweat from her forehead as she watched the display screen flash red warnings. Metal this deep underground meant only one thing, and it was not good news for anyone who believed Earth's history was simple. Her team had been searching for ancient water sources when the ground-penetrating radar found the anomaly. What started as a routine geological survey had become the most important discovery in human history. The metal signature stretched for miles in every direction, far too large to be any known aircraft or buried structure. Professor David Kim crawled out of the excavation pit with dirt covering his glasses. The linguist had joined the dig 3 days ago when Emma realized the metal surface was covered in symbols. Strange markings that looked almost like writing, but unlike anything in any human language database. The patterns are getting clearer, David said, cleaning his glasses on his shirt. These symbols repeat in sequences, like they are trying to tell us something important. The metal itself is not corroding, even after being buried for thousands of years. Captain Ray Collins emerged from the command tent where he had been coordinating with satellite teams. The former military engineer had connections that helped Emma get funding for the expanded dig. His experience with complex excavations made him invaluable for an operation this size. The satellite images confirm what we suspected, Ray announced. This thing is massive. Our best estimate puts it at over 4 miles long and 2 miles wide. Whatever it is, it was not built by any civilization we know about. Emma stared at the exposed section of hull. The metal had a strange quality that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Running her hand along the surface, she could feel the symbols carved deep into the material. They were not random scratches, but deliberate markings made with incredible precision. We need to find a way inside, she decided. If this is some kind of vessel, there has to be an entrance somewhere. The team worked through the night, following the hull's contours as they cleared more sand. The structure curved downward, suggesting they had only uncovered the top portion of something much larger. Emma began to realize they might be looking at the tip of an enormous buried ship. David's translation work revealed patterns in the symbols that suggested a mathematical language. Numbers and equations mixed with pictographs showing star maps and planetary alignments. The more he studied the markings, the more convinced he became that they were looking at something not from Earth. These star positions don't match anything in our current sky, David explained to Emma as they examined his notes. But if I adjust for stellar drift over thousands of years, they start to make sense. Emma, I think these symbols are showing Earth's position relative to other star systems, but from a very long time ago. Ray's excavation equipment finally located what appeared to be a sealed entrance. The doorway was hidden beneath layers of fused sand that had turned to glass over millennia. Whatever had sealed this entrance had used tremendous heat, creating a barrier that had protected the interior for thousands of years. The glass seal is uniform and perfect, Ray observed as they studied the entrance. This was not done by accident or natural processes. Someone deliberately sealed this ship and wanted it to stay sealed for a very long time. Emma made the decision to breach the seal. Using careful laser cutting, they created an opening large enough for the team to enter. The moment the seal was broken, sensors detected a change in atmospheric pressure. Air was flowing into the buried vessel, suggesting the interior had maintained some kind of environmental system. The corridors inside defied explanation. Walls made of the same dark metal stretched into darkness, lit by crystalline formations that began glowing as the team approached. The technology was clearly advanced, but it felt ancient at the same time. Everything was built on a scale larger than human proportions, designed for occupants taller and different from modern people. David discovered that the glowing crystals responded to their presence, creating patterns of light that matched the symbols on the hull. The ship is reacting to us, he realized. These lights are not just illumination. They are some kind of communication system trying to activate. As they moved deeper into the vessel, Emma noticed that the air was becoming warmer and more humid. Sensors indicated that atmospheric processors were working to create breathable conditions. After 30,000 years underground, the ship was still functional and trying to accommodate living occupants. The central corridor led to a vast chamber that took Emma's breath away. Thousands of transparent pods lined the walls in perfect rows, each one containing a tall, elegant figure in suspended animation. The beings inside looked almost human, but with proportions that were stretched and refined. Their skin had a translucent quality, and their faces were peaceful and eternal. Sleep. They are still alive, Ray whispered, studying the readings from his equipment. These pods are maintaining some kind of life support system. Heart rates, brain activity, everything indicates these beings are just sleeping. Emma approached one of the pods and found herself looking into the face of something that was definitely not human. The being's features were refined and beautiful, but alien in subtle ways that made her skin crawl. Large eyes, elongated limbs, and fingers that ended in what looked like natural crystalline formations. David was frantically documenting the symbols surrounding the pods. Emma, these markings are different from the ones outside. They look like names or identification codes. Each pod has unique symbols, like they are keeping track of individual occupants. The chamber's central platform held a large crystalline formation that pulsed with internal light. As Emma approached it, the entire room began to respond. Lights activated throughout the chamber, and the pods began showing increased activity. Whatever had been sleeping for 30,000 years was starting to wake up. "We need to leave now," Ray said urgently. "These systems are activating beyond our control. If those beings wake up before we understand what we are dealing with, we could be in serious trouble." But it was too late. The central crystal pulsed brighter, and throughout the chamber the sleeping figures began to stir. After 300 centuries of slumber, the ship's original occupants were returning to consciousness, and humanity was about to face its first contact with the species that had once called Earth home. The first being to emerge from its crystalline pod moved with fluid grace that made Emma's heart race with fear and wonder. Its translucent skin caught the chamber's pulsing lights as it sat up slowly, blinking eyes that seemed to hold the depth of stars. When it spoke, the words came out as melodic tones that bypassed the ears and spoke directly to the mind. "Where are our cities?" The question formed in Emma's thoughts without her understanding how. "Where are our people? What has become of our world?" More pods were opening throughout the vast chamber. Dozens of the tall beings emerged, their movements coordinated as if they shared some invisible communication network. Emma realized that the three humans were completely surrounded by creatures that had slept since before human civilization began. The being who had spoken first approached them with measured steps. Its height exceeded 7 feet, and its presence commanded attention in ways that made Emma feel like a child facing an adult. When it focused its large, luminous eyes on her, she felt her mind being gently probed by an intelligence far older than anything human. "I am High Commander Neth of the Talar Expedition," the being said, its mental voice carrying authority that made Emma's team instinctively step closer together. "You are not of our species, yet you walk freely in our vessel. Explain your presence and the fate of our colony." David stepped forward, his linguistics training giving him courage despite the overwhelming situation. "We are humans," he said aloud, hoping the creatures could understand spoken language. "We found your ship buried in the desert. We did not know anyone was inside." Commander Neth tilted its head, studying David with curiosity. "Humans," it repeated, the word forming strangely in their minds. "You speak the crude tongue of the primitive species we observed before our departure. But you appear to have developed beyond your original state. How long have we slept?" Ray checked his equipment and spoke carefully. "According to our dating methods, your ship has been buried for approximately 30,000 years. The world above has changed significantly since then." The revelation caused a ripple of distress among the awakening Talar. Commander Neth's expression darkened as it processed the implications. Emma could feel waves of anger and confusion emanating from the assembled beings. 30,000 years? Neth said slowly. Our journey to the galactic core was meant to last only 20,000 years. We expected to return to our thriving colony and find our automated systems maintaining our world in perfect order. Emma found her voice despite her fear. Commander Neth, I need to tell you something important. Humans now populate the entire surface of Earth. We have built cities and nations across all continents. This planet is now our home. The temperature in the chamber dropped noticeably as Commander Neth's anger flared. Other Talar began moving closer, their graceful forms suddenly seeming more predatory than beautiful. Emma realized that these ancient beings viewed humanity as nothing more than animals that had overrun their property. Impossible, Neth declared. This world belongs to the Talar. We established our colony here millions of years before your species, developed beyond primitive tool use. We left automated guardians to maintain order during our absence. How did your kind survive and multiply without control? David tried to explain human history, but Commander Neth cut him off with a gesture that sent sharp pain through their minds. The alien leader was not interested in human achievements or civilization. To the Talar, humans were an infestation that had occurred during their absence. Show us the surface, Neth commanded. We must assess the extent of this contamination and determine the most efficient method of restoration. Emma felt sick as she realized what the commander meant by restoration. These beings saw humanity as a problem to be solved, not a species to be negotiated with. She tried to explain that humans had rights and intelligence, but Neth's response chilled her to the bone. Your species developed in our absence through an oversight of our automated systems? The commander said with dismissive coldness. You are an invasive life form that has disrupted the natural order of our world. However, we are not without mercy. We will provide your kind with sufficient time to evacuate this planet voluntarily. Ray stepped forward angrily. You cannot. Just claim ownership of Earth. Humanity has lived here for thousands of generations. This is our world now. Commander Neth's laugh was like crystalline chimes in their minds, beautiful and terrifying. Your species has existed for mere moments. Compared to our claim on this world, we were exploring the stars when your ancestors were learning to make fire. Our technology shaped this planet's development long before your kind took its first steps. The Talar leader gestured toward the chamber walls, and Emma gasped as they became transparent, revealing the true scope of the buried vessel. The ship extended far beyond what they had imagined, its systems connecting to a vast network of underground installations that stretched across the planet. Our automated systems have been monitoring your species' development, Neth continued. We are aware of your wars, your pollution, your destruction of natural systems. You have proven yourselves poor stewards of our world. The experiment of allowing your kind to develop has failed. Emma felt desperation rising in her chest. Please, Commander, humanity has learned and grown. We are not the same species you left behind. We have art, science, literature. We have achieved things that might even impress the Talar. Your achievements are irrelevant, Neth replied without emotion. A virus that develops interesting mutations is still a virus. Your species will be relocated to preserve both your existence and the restoration of our world. David grabbed Emma's arm, whispering urgently. The symbols throughout the ship, they are not just writing. They are control interfaces. This entire vessel is designed to reshape planetary environments. Emma, I think they have the power to terraform Earth back to whatever state they want. Commander Neth apparently heard their whispered conversation. Your linguist shows surprising insight. Yes, our vessel contains the tools necessary to restore this world to its proper state. We will give your species 30 of your solar rotations to begin evacuation procedures. Any humans remaining after that period will be relocated involuntarily. The chamber around them began to change as more Talar systems activated. Emma realized they were witnessing the awakening of technology that made human science look like stone tools. These beings possessed the power to reshape worlds, and they viewed humanity as nothing more than an obstacle to their homecoming. Where are we supposed to go? Emma asked desperately. Humans cannot survive in space without your help. Commander Neth's response was delivered with casual indifference. Your species' survival beyond this world is not our concern. However, we will provide basic transport vessels to prevent unnecessary death. Consider it compensation for the inconvenience of reclaiming our property. As the Talar began activating their ship systems, Emma realized that humanity was facing the end of everything they had ever known. These ancient beings had returned to collect their world, and human civilization was nothing more than a temporary inconvenience to be cleaned away. The emergency session at the United Nations had been ongoing for 18 hours when Emma's team arrived in New York. World leaders filled the assembly hall, their faces showing the strain of processing the impossible news. Above the desert in Egypt, the massive Talar ship had risen from its ancient burial site and now hung in the sky like a dark moon, visible from space. President Martinez of the Global Defense Council stood at the podium, her voice hoarse from hours of briefing. "The situation is beyond anything our military can handle," she admitted to the assembly. "Their ship neutralized our most advanced fighter jets without causing harm to our pilots. They simply shut down our aircraft and guided them safely to the ground." Emma watched the satellite footage showing the enormous vessel hovering motionless above Cairo. The ship's presence had caused mass evacuations from the city below, but the Talar had made no aggressive moves beyond their initial demonstration of technological superiority. They seemed content to wait while humanity processed their ultimatum. General Thompson, the Joint Chiefs representative, displayed tactical assessments on the main screen. "We launched coordinated strikes from 6 different nations," he reported grimly. "Nuclear missiles, electromagnetic pulses, directed energy weapons, nothing reached their hull. Some kind of field around their ship simply absorbed or deflected everything we threw at them." David had been working with translation teams around the clock, analyzing the Talar language patterns the commander had shared during their encounter. "Their communication methods are incredibly sophisticated," he explained to the assembly. "They can interface directly with electronic systems, which explains how they disabled our aircraft so easily." Ray approached the podium with data from his engineering analysis. "The technology we observed inside their vessel operates on principles we barely understand. They manipulate matter and energy at the quantum level, making our most advanced systems look primitive by comparison." Emma stood to address the world leaders. Commander Neth made their position clear. They view humans as an invasive species that developed during their absence. They believe they have both legal and moral authority to reclaim Earth as their property. The Brazilian representative raised his hand urgently. "Dr. Hayes, did they provide any indication of compromise? Any possibility of coexistence or negotiation?" Emma shook her head sadly. "The commander was not interested in human achievements or our emotional attachment to Earth. To them, we are simply an infestation that needs to be removed so they can restore their world to its original state." President Martinez called for a strategic recess as military advisors huddled around communication equipment. Reports were coming in from around the globe as more buried Talar installations activated in response to their ship's awakening. Ancient structures were rising from the ocean floors and desert sands, revealing the true extent of alien infrastructure hidden beneath human civilization. Ray pulled Emma aside during the break, his expression troubled. "Emma, I have been analyzing the global activation patterns. These installations are not random. They are connected to major population centers, geological formations, and resource deposits in ways that suggest incredible planning." "What are you thinking?" Emma asked, though she suspected she would not like the answer. "I think the Talar have been monitoring and possibly influencing human development for thousands of years," Ray said quietly. "Our cities, our technology, even our population centers seem to align with their buried infrastructure in ways that cannot be coincidental." David joined their conversation, holding a tablet filled with translation notes. "Ray might be right. I've been studying the symbols from their ship, and some of them correspond to geographical locations on Earth. Not current locations, but places that have been significant throughout human history." Emma felt a chill as the implications became clear. Are you suggesting that human civilization developed according to some kind of Talar plan? Not exactly, David replied carefully. But I think our development was influenced by their technology in ways we never realized. The symbols suggest they have been watching us, perhaps even guiding certain aspects of our growth. General Thompson called the team back to the main session where satellite reports were causing panic among the delegates. The Talar ship had begun extending mechanical appendages that were interfacing with Earth's electromagnetic field. Whatever they were doing was affecting global communications and weather patterns. The atmospheric disturbances are increasing, the general reported. Their ship appears to be testing our planet's current environmental state. We are seeing unusual auroras at the equator and temperature fluctuations that cannot be explained by natural phenomena. Emma realized that the Talar were not waiting passively for humanity's response. They were already beginning the process of environmental assessment that would precede Earth's restoration to their preferred state. Human civilization was on borrowed time. President Martinez reconvened the emergency session with grim news. Our negotiation attempts have been ignored. The Talar commander has not responded to any of our communication efforts. They appear to be treating their ultimatum as final. Emma stood up suddenly, an idea forming in her mind. President Martinez, what if we are approaching this wrong? The Talar dismissed us as primitive, but what if we can prove otherwise? What if we can demonstrate that humanity has become something they did not expect? What do you mean, Doctor? Hayes? The president asked. Emma looked at her team before speaking. Ray discovered that human technology has been unknowingly integrating with Talar systems for thousands of years. What if our development was not random? What if humans have been unconsciously adapting to work with their technology? Ray caught on to Emma's thinking. The global positioning of our infrastructure, our technological development patterns, even our communication methods show influences that we attributed to human ingenuity. But what if we have been unconsciously learning to interface with Talar systems? David added his linguistic analysis. The mathematical principles in human technology match patterns I found in Talar symbols. Our computers, our electronics, even our architectural designs follow rules that align with their technology in ways that seem too perfect to be accidental. Emma felt excitement building despite the desperate situation. What if the Talar left more than just monitoring systems behind? What if they left teaching systems that have been subtly guiding human development? We might be more compatible with their technology than they realize. General Thompson looked skeptical. Dr. Hayes, even if that is true, how does it help us? They still possess overwhelming technological superiority. Emma turned to address the full assembly. Because if humans have been unconsciously adapting to Talar technology for thousands of years, we might be able to interface with their systems in ways they do not expect. We might be able to prove that humanity is not an infestation, but rather the natural evolution of their world. President Martinez leaned forward intently. What are you proposing, Dr. Hayes? Emma took a deep breath before answering. I propose we attempt to demonstrate human compatibility with Talar technology. If we can show them that we have become partners with their systems rather than destroyers of their world, they might reconsider their position. The assembly erupted in discussion as delegates debated the proposal. Emma knew it was a desperate plan, but it might be humanity's only chance to avoid forced evacuation from the world they called home. Emma's hands trembled as she held the communication device that would connect directly to Commander Neff aboard the hovering ship. 3 days had passed since the UN Assembly approved her desperate proposal, and now she stood in the makeshift command center built in the shadow of the massive Talar vessel. The ship's dark hull blocked out the sun, casting the Egyptian desert in permanent twilight. Commander Neff, Emma spoke into the crystalline device that David had modified to translate human speech into Talar thought patterns. We request an audience to demonstrate human capabilities. We believe we can prove our worth as partners rather than obstacles. The response came as a wave of cold amusement that made Emma's skin crawl. Your species continues to display the arrogance that justifies our decision. Neth's mental voice carried barely concealed contempt. However, your persistent attempts at contact have provided entertainment during our planetary assessment. Ray monitored the ship's energy readings as Emma continued her plea. Commander, we have discovered evidence that human development has been influenced by Talar technology. We may be more compatible with your systems than you realize. There was a long pause before Neth responded. Explain this claim, human. Our monitoring systems indicate your species has remained primitive despite exposure to our educational influences. David stepped forward with his translation notes. Commander, human technological development follows patterns that match Talar mathematical principles. Our cities align with your buried installations, and our communication systems operate on frequencies that resonate with your equipment. Emma felt a shift in the alien commander's attention. These observations are curious, Neth admitted. Our automated systems were programmed to provide subtle guidance to developing species, but your kind was deemed too primitive to benefit from such instruction. What if your assessment was wrong? Emma asked boldly. What if humans have been learning from your systems without conscious awareness? We may have become the partners your automated systems were designed to create. The ship above them pulsed with increased activity as Neth apparently consulted with other Talar. When the commander's response came, it carried a note of interest that had not been present before. Your proposal is intriguing, human Emma. Our species values intellectual curiosity, even in primitive life forms. We will provide you with an opportunity to demonstrate these claims. Emma felt hope rising in her chest. What kind of demonstration would prove our worth? Neth's mental laughter was like ice crystals forming in her mind. Our vessel's navigation core was damaged during our return journey. The quantum consciousness interface required for star travel has become corrupted beyond our ability to repair. If humans possess the compatibility you claim, perhaps one of your kind can succeed where Talar minds have failed. Ray looked at Emma with alarm. Emma, that sounds incredibly dangerous. We have no idea what interfacing with their technology might do to a human mind. Emma ignored Ray's concerns and focused on the opportunity. What would happen if we successfully repair your navigation system? Success would demonstrate that your species has evolved beyond our initial assessment, Neth replied thoughtfully. It would suggest that humans have become something we did not anticipate. Such a development would require careful consideration of our current plans for planetary restoration. David grabbed Emma's arm urgently. Emma, this could be our chance. If we can prove human value to them, they might reconsider the evacuation. Order. Commander Neth's next words carried warning and challenge. However, failure to interface successfully with our navigation core will confirm that humans remain primitive despite superficial development. Such confirmation would accelerate our restoration timeline and eliminate any consideration of coexistence. Emma realized that humanity's future was being balanced on her ability to merge her mind with alien technology that had defeated the Talar themselves. I accept the challenge, Commander. What do I need to do? The ship's hull opened with fluid grace, revealing a transport chamber that descended to ground level. Emma, Ray, and David entered the crystalline pod as it carried them up into the vessel's interior. The corridors they passed through were filled with Talar working at stations that defied human understanding of physics and engineering. Commander, Neth awaited them in a vast chamber dominated by a sphere of pure light that hurt to look at directly. The navigation core contains the consciousness patterns of our greatest pilots, the commander explained. It requires a mind capable of quantum thought processing to interface successfully. Emma approached the glowing sphere carefully. What happened to your pilot's consciousness patterns? They became too structured during our long journey, Neth replied with what sounded like sadness. 30,000 years of hibernation crystallized our thought processes. We can no longer achieve the chaotic creativity necessary for quantum navigation. David studied the interface panels surrounding the sphere. Commander, these symbols suggest the navigation system requires intuitive leaps rather than logical analysis. Human minds excel at pattern recognition and creative problem solving. Precisely why your species intrigues us, Neth admitted. Your chaotic thought patterns might possess the unpredictability our navigation system requires. However, the interface will expose your consciousness to patterns that destroyed lesser minds among our own people. Ray checked his equipment nervously. Emma, the energy readings from that sphere are off the charts. We have no idea what it might do to human neural activity. Emma looked at her companions and then at Commander Neth. If I succeed, will you seriously consider allowing humans to remain on Earth? The Talar leader studied her with eyes that held the depth of space. Success would prove that your species represents an evolutionary step we did not foresee. Such beings would deserve consideration as potential partners rather than obstacles to be removed. Emma stepped toward the interface chair positioned before the glowing sphere. And if I fail? Failure will confirm that humans are merely clever animals, Neth said without emotion. Your evacuation will proceed immediately, and Earth will be restored to its proper state within 1 of your years. Emma sat in the interface chair as crystalline filaments extended toward her head. She felt the cold touch of alien technology against her skull as the connection established itself. The last thing she heard before her consciousness merged with the navigation core was Ray calling her name in desperate concern. The sphere pulsed brighter as Emma's mind touched the damaged quantum patterns within. She found herself surrounded by the ghost consciousness of ancient Talar pilots, their structured thoughts locked in logical loops that prevented navigation calculations. Emma realized that human intuition and chaotic creativity might be exactly what the system needed to break free from its crystallized state. As her consciousness merged deeper with the alien technology, Emma discovered that the navigation core was not just damaged but evolving. It had been trying to adapt to new types of minds for thousands of years, waiting for a consciousness that could bridge the gap between Talar logic and quantum unpredictability. Emma smiled as she realized that humans had not just learned from Talar technology over the millennia. The technology had been learning from humans as well, preparing for the day when both species might work together to explore the stars. Emma's consciousness floated in a sea of quantum possibilities as she touched the damaged navigation patterns within the Talar core. The ancient pilot minds that had been trapped in logical loops for 30,000 years suddenly found new pathways opening through her human intuition. Where Talar thinking had become rigid and crystallized, Emma's chaotic creativity provided the flexibility needed to repair the quantum matrix. She felt the navigation system responding to her mind in ways the original designers had never anticipated. Human neural patterns, shaped by millennia of adaptation and survival, naturally possessed the unpredictable quantum fluctuations the system required. Emma realized that every human who had ever solved a puzzle, created art, or made an intuitive leap had been unconsciously training for this moment. The damaged pathways began reconnecting as Emma's mind provided the missing element the Talar had lost during their long hibernation. But something unexpected happened as the repair process continued. Emma discovered that the navigation core was not just accepting her consciousness, but learning from it, integrating human thought patterns into its basic operation. Fascinating, she heard Commander Neth's mental voice echoing through the quantum space. Your mind is not simply repairing our system. It is improving it beyond our original design parameters. Emma felt the truth of Neth's observation as the navigation core evolved under her influence. The rigid Talar logic patterns were being balanced by human flexibility, creating hybrid thought processes that exceeded the capabilities of either species alone. The system was becoming something entirely new. Commander, Emma's thoughts formed in the quantum space. I think I understand what happened. Your automated teaching systems did not just monitor human development. They were preparing us to be partners with Talar technology. Humanity was not an accident, but an evolution your people set in motion millions of years ago. The revelation rippled through the navigation core as both Emma and Neth processed its implications. The Talar had not returned to find their world contaminated by an invasive species. They had returned to find their world had produced the perfect complement to their own abilities. Emma felt the navigation system achieving full functionality as her consciousness integrated completely with the quantum matrix. Star maps that had been corrupted for millennia, suddenly blazed with perfect clarity. The hybrid human-Talar intelligence she had helped create could navigate not just to known destinations, but discover entirely new pathways through space. "The repairs are complete," Emma announced, her awareness gradually returning to her physical body in the interface chair. "But Commander, the system has become something different. It requires both human and Talar consciousness to operate at peak efficiency." Emma opened her eyes to find Commander Neth staring at her with an expression she had never seen on a Talar face before. Wonder mixed with something that might have been respect as the alien leader processed what had just occurred. "Human Emma," Neth said slowly, "you have accomplished something impossible. Not only did you repair our navigation core, but you evolved it beyond anything we believed possible. The system now exceeds our original specifications by factors we cannot measure." Ray rushed to Emma's side as she stepped away from the interface chair. "Emma, are you all right? The energy readings were incredible. We thought we might lose you in there." Emma smiled weakly but with deep satisfaction. "I am fine, Ray. Better than fine. I think I just saved humanity's future." David was frantically documenting the symbols that had appeared on displays throughout the navigation chamber. "Emma, these new patterns are amazing. They show star charts extending far beyond anything we knew existed. The range of this system has increased exponentially." Commander Neth approached Emma with movements that seemed less alien and more familiar than before. "Human Emma, your success has forced us to reconsider everything we believed about your species. You have proven that humans are not invaders but partners we did not recognize." Emma felt hope blooming in her chest. "Does this mean humanity can remain on Earth?" Neth's mental voice carried warmth that had been absent during their previous interactions. "It means something far more significant. Your demonstration has revealed that Earth did not develop randomly during our absence. It evolved exactly as our deepest programming intended, producing beings capable of complementing Talar abilities." The commander gestured toward the chamber walls, which became transparent to show Earth spinning below them. "Your species possesses qualities we lost during our long journey. Your chaos balances our order, your intuition complements our logic. Your creativity enhances our technology." Ray looked at Emma with amazement. "Emma, I think they are saying that humans and Talar are meant to work together." Commander Neth confirmed Ray's interpretation. "Precisely. We departed this world as a single species seeking knowledge among the stars. We have returned to find that our world has created the perfect partners for that journey. Humans represent the evolution we did not know we needed." Emma felt tears forming in her eyes. "So humanity can stay on Earth?" "More than that," Neth replied with something that might have been Talar laughter. "We propose that Earth becomes the first joint human-Talar world. Your species will share our technology, and we will share your creativity. Together we will explore possibilities that neither species could achieve alone." David grabbed Emma's arm excitedly. "Emma, do you realize what this means? Humanity will have access to interstellar travel, advanced technology, and alliance with beings who have explored the galaxy for millions of years." Commander Neth nodded approvingly. "And we will regain the creative flexibility we lost during our journey. Your species will help us rediscover the chaotic beauty we abandoned in pursuit of perfect order." Emma looked around the navigation chamber where human and Talar technologies were already beginning to merge in ways that enhanced both. "What happens now?" "Now we begin the real work," Neth replied. "Our ship will serve as a bridge between our species while Earth is gradually enhanced rather than restored. Human cities will be integrated with Talar technology, creating environments that benefit both peoples." Ray studied the new display panels that were appearing throughout the chamber. "Commander, these systems are showing star charts with destinations marked for exploration. Are you suggesting that humans and Talar will explore space together?" Commander Neth's response filled Emma with excitement that made her feel like humanity had just graduated into a larger universe. "Human Ray, your species has proven capable of enhancing our greatest technology. We believe you will prove equally valuable as partners in discovering what awaits among the stars. Emma stood on the observation deck of the hybrid ship as it prepared for its first joint mission to the outer planets of the solar system. Below them, Earth showed the early signs of integration as human cities began incorporating Talar technology, while maintaining their unique character. "It is strange," Commander Neth observed, standing beside Emma at the transparent wall. "We departed seeking knowledge and returned expecting to reclaim our world. Instead, we discovered that our world had created something far more valuable than we left behind." Emma smiled as she watched the stars that both species would now explore together. "Commander, I think we both got something better than what we originally wanted." The ship turned toward the outer system where joint human-Talar teams would establish the first interstellar research stations. Emma realized that humanity had not just avoided extinction but had joined something magnificent that would carry them to destinations beyond their wildest dreams. Commander Neth placed a gentle hand on Emma's shoulder as they watched Earth growing smaller behind them. "Human Emma, your courage in interfacing with our navigation core has opened pathways we never imagined possible. The hybrid consciousness you helped create shows us routes to star systems we believed unreachable." Emma felt the ship's hybrid engines engaging, powered by technology that combined Talar energy manipulation with human engineering innovations. The fusion of both species' knowledge had created propulsion systems that exceeded what either could achieve alone. "The universe is vast, Commander," Emma replied, watching the stars grow brighter as they left Earth's atmosphere. "I think both our species have been preparing for this moment without realizing it. Humans dreamed of reaching the stars while you mastered the technology to get there." David joined them at the observation window, his eyes bright with excitement. "Emma, the linguistic patterns I am detecting from deep space suggest there are other civilizations out there waiting to be discovered. Our combined abilities might help us communicate with species that neither humans nor Talar could understand alone." Ray approached with engineering reports that showed the remarkable efficiency of their hybrid systems. "The integration is exceeding all projections. Human intuition is helping optimize Talar technology in real time, while their knowledge is solving engineering problems we never knew how to approach." Emma smiled as she realized that the ancient aliens who had returned to reclaim their world had instead found something far more valuable. They had found partners who could help them explore infinity itself. The stars ahead held mysteries that would challenge both species, but together they possessed the tools to unlock secrets that had waited millions of years for the right combination of logic and chaos, order and creativity, Talar wisdom and human dreams. As their ship jumped to faster-than-light travel for the first time with a hybrid crew, Emma knew that both species had found their true destiny among the stars that called to them all.